But first to the election that's definitely taking place. The Liberal Democrats are choosing their candidate for the Glasgow East by-election tonight. The SNP will follow tomorrow. Labour will make their choice on Friday, the same day as the Tories formally launch their campaign. They've already have a candidate in place. If the polls are to be believed, it's a two-horse race between Labour and the SNP. And if the statistics are accurate, Glasgow East is among the UK's most deprived areas. What effect could that have on the result? Kenneth MacDonald has been investigating.
Three weeks tomorrow, they'll be counting the votes, but some of the numbers from this constituency are already in.
The Glasgow East constituency encompasses many communities, from here in Easterhouse down to the Clyde in the south, from Baillieston in the east to Parkhead in the west. But when you look at the raw figures, it's easy to conclude it's one big pocket of deprivation.
The east end of Glasgow, certainly around Parkhead, well, as we know, there are a lot of problems for people that live in this area, predominantly financial problems. A lot of people living on benefits, on a low income, lone parent households.
Yes, it is grim out east, but at the same time, it's not a wasteland.
Well, this is a regeneration proposal where what we'll do is that people who are living behind us and the adjacent areas will move into the new housing. And then what we're going to do is, once they move out, we'll knock their houses down and build more new houses for rent.
That's definitely the first one that we're doing, blocks 1 to 5.
So these foundations here will be getting poured. Well, I was brought up in the east end of Glasgow, and I find that there's a hell of a lot of regeneration work going on in the east end of Glasgow. The company I work for, CCG, I just finished a project at Whale House in the last month. They've been up here probably for the last 7 or 8 years working, regenerating Easterhouse and Ballarnock area.
East Hall and Easterhouse, and also even in Kildamore, people are great, fantastic community spirit, and unfortunately it's blighted by a lot of negativity. But the reality is that people are very nice, very good, and they just deserve a chance like everyone else. People view Easterhouse as a place that people don't want to live. I have over 500 people looking for a house, and there are only 2 empty houses come available every month. So that just shows you that there really is a demand for this area. People want to live in communities.
Now into these communities, with their deprivation, aspiration and fragile hopes, comes a by-election. In normal times, this seat would be safer than safe for Labour, but these are not normal times. On Glasgow City Council, only the SNP come close to Labour in these parts, and Labour still have twice as many councillors.
Nowhere's safe for Labour anymore, and I think Gordon Brown knows that. That's why he's wanting to hold this in the middle of the Glasgow Fair. I mean, it's a disgrace that he's trying to take the number of people out of the equation by hoping that they're all going to go on holiday, and these are people that were voting SNP. As far as we're concerned, everybody's going to know that there's an election on. We want everybody to take out postal votes who does have a holiday, and we want to make sure that Gordon Brown gets the good kick up the backside that he requires.
Do you play football? You stick into football so we can do well in the Commonwealth Games, OK? But there's a really
Part of Labour's early strategy has been to talk down their chances of holding the seat. That could get out their core vote and make any victory, however narrow, look like a triumph.
Well, nobody could accuse Labour of taking this part of Glasgow for granted in any way. You know, it's a part of the city that's changing dramatically, and you can see that for yourself in the constituency. New homes, new leisure facilities, and of course we've won the Commonwealth Games, which is going to be a tremendous boost to the east end of the city. So it's about our record, and it's also about our ambition to continue that transformation, continue that change.
Labour are emphasising local issues, thus handily avoiding the party's national travails, such as by-election setbacks elsewhere.
What's worse, coming behind the BNP in Henley or to come behind the SNP in Glasgow East? And will the Prime Minister make the trip up to Glasgow to try to stop that happening?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he's got the chance to ask about any issue, particularly this morning. One might have thought the Conservative Party, if not on the front bench, but from the backbenchers would have acknowledged the 60 years of the NHS. And once again, they've resorted to trivia when they could ask sensible and serious questions.
Back in Glasgow East, it's time to seek out a profession with an unspun view of the race.
Well, historically, Glasgow East is a Labour stronghold. I think the last majority was 13,000. The odds now, although we're odds on Labour, I think it shows the trends of the voters are thinking now. I can see the betting changing over the next couple of weeks.
There is plenty of ground to cover here, and 3 weeks is time enough for events to change the course of any campaign. Meanwhile, in Easterhouse, the regeneration continues. Glasgow East has seemingly intractable problems, and yet is also changing fast, just like Scotland as a whole. Not too long from now, the housing co-op's building site will look like this. But much, much sooner than that, the political circus will have moved